You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Casey versus Hatfill.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Good day. Mrs. Casey, you've been married to the defendant for less than a year. Due to your husband's trust issues, you're worried you won't make it to your 1-year anniversary if you don't prove he is the biological father of your son, Jacob Hatfill. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfill, you say sleeping with the babysitter landed you in a marriage with someone you don't trust. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfill, did you have a good relationship before the marriage?
Yeah.
Did you have trust issues then?
Right about the time that we were finding out that she was pregnant.
That's supposed to be a happy time. What happened?
She hadn't told me she'd quit taking her birth control or anything yet. We were talking about planning for the future and a possible children in the future, not immediately at that moment.
So you have trust issues?
Yes.
But at one time, this relationship was a happy one.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Casey, take me back to that time.
I had started babysitting for his family. I saw him, thinking he was a cute guy. And we started chit-chatting, and he had said they had told me the rules. It was, no running in and out of the house because it was hot that day, the air conditioner was on. Make sure the kids don't go in and out of the house, and no sleeping with the babysitter on duty.
Really?
I thought it was love at first sight.
And so you instantly fell for him?
Yes. I've been the side lady, and now I'm the main one. We're married, and I want this to be a happily ever after with my little family.
And so, Mr. Hatfill, you slept with the babysitter. Broke
Eventually.
the rules.
But it was after hours. It wasn't during the time of being babysitting or anything like that.
It wasn't?
No. And me and Andrew proceeded to talk from that moment on.
So you started dating?
Yes.
How did you get to a place where you thought she actually had slept with someone and Jacob may not be your biological son?
By coming across text messages in her phone.
Oh.
I have.
You've brought some to court?
Brought some to
Jerome,
court.
may I see that evidence, please? Thank you.
You're welcome.
They would be to Miss Casey from somebody she was with prior to me.
And so these text messages read, "Are you up? What are you doing? I just got off. Can I come by?" They're all questions with no responses. At the time she's your wife?
Before.
And right before she got pregnant?
This was right after she was pregnant.
Okay, what it signaled to you was, if this was going on right after she got pregnant, was it going on right before?
Exactly.
Miss Casey, you remember these text messages? You recognize them?
Sort of, kind of, yes.
So who could it be, sort of, kind of?
This guy had messaged me, asked me to be his mistress whenever he got married. I had told him flat out no.
When did that start?
It had happened after we had gotten pregnant. He was messaging me, asking me to hook up. I kept telling him no. I kept telling Mr. Hatfill about these messages.
Was she honest, Mr. Hatfill, about the fact that this ex was reaching out, asking her to be his mistress?
After it was brought up to me, yes, she was honest, but I still felt like there was a missing side of the conversation.
And this was a guy she was intimate with in the past, am I correct?
Yes.
When he sent these text messages, you did not respond.
Correct.
And so, Mr. Hatfill, do you believe she did not respond?
No. I was currently staying at her parents' house, and I was sitting in the garage with one of her family members when the guy in question had come in the back door and knocked on our bedroom door.
He was looking for the family member.
I felt like he was looking for Miss Casey because the supposed person he was looking for was sitting in the garage with me.
Oh.
When the door come open and he realized I was sitting in the garage is when he spun around, grabbed the supposed person he was looking for and his current girlfriend and turned around and left. He also had made an appearance later on that evening when he had brought them back, knocking on the door while me and her were lying down in bed at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
What?
So that tells me that there's something more than just these mysterious text messages.
Miss Casey, who in their right mind knocks on somebody's door at 12:31 in the morning, period, much less a woman they used to sleep with, unless they're interested in sleeping with her again and looking for her?
He was looking to take my family member's girlfriend at the time home.
Not at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning when he come by, it was your name he was saying.
I didn't hear that.
Wait a minute.
I was asleep.
You said when he was knocking on the door, he was saying Miss Casey's name?
Yes.
But you're not pulling the part to where you cheated and you had other girls messaging you while I was still in bed with you. We were sleeping.
Right.
We were supposed to be sleeping, and you
You're
were
right.
sending nude pictures to another girl.
I haven't said any of that because all this doubt that's here
Yeah,
that's
so
caused
I
a
was
problem in
doubted
our
before
relationship
we even
is the whole
conceived
reason
Jacob. We were
that
still in
I even
Kilmarnock
went
whenever
stepped out
you were
then.
still sending naked pictures to other females, and females were sending the same pictures to you.
Now we're getting to the meat of this, okay? Because I couldn't understand how a perfectly happy couple, it was love at first sight, don't sleep with the babysitter, but I did, but it worked out, and we so happy, and then all of a sudden, change the channel, and we got trust issues out the wazoo. So let's be honest, and that's why we're here. Mrs. Casey, did you have revenge sex with this man to get back at him because you thought he was having sex with his ex?
No. I've never once cheated on him in the 3 years.
So why is it when we saw those text messages, we don't see a text that comes after that goes, stop texting me, I'm married?
Because he had blocked me on Facebook. I had blocked him, he blocked me.
How you gonna block somebody and you're waiting for them to respond to see if you can come over and have sex with them? That doesn't even make good sense.
Because his girlfriend had found the messages.
So she was looking at him, and then at that point, he realized it and blocked it.
Yes.
This is so messy. You're saying Jacob doesn't look like you?
No, he don't.
He does. I'm fair-skinned. It doesn't have to be the dad's. He doesn't have to be, like, if you would look at
What color hair does this other guy have, since you say
Brown
it doesn't
hair.
look like you?
When he was younger, it was sandy, strawberry blonde. Now it's a little bit more brown during more time he spends in the sun. Now, my father and me share dark hair, dark complexion, all the way through. I passed those genes down on into my oldest son, and he looks exactly like me, exactly like my father.
But it doesn't matter because he could have both sides of the family. He could be a strawberry blonde and blue eyes.
I want him to be my child. I signed the birth certificate. I was there when he was born. I'm not denying him one bit. The reason why we're here
Your
today...
family's bringing this up. There's text messages from your family saying, oh, you might as well go find Jacob's dad because you're not him.
Was that a conversation between me and them? No, it wasn't. That was
It
a
was,
conversation
though.
between you and them.
But they're denying him that he's yours. You've denied him when he was 2 weeks old that he was not yours.
So,
2 weeks old.
Miss Casey, after you had the baby, just 2 weeks later, he started to deny?
Yes, because he came out with the blonde hair and blue eyes.
And you're also receiving pressure and texts from his family indicating that they don't believe.
It makes me feel like I'm just a tramp or whatever, that I just, open my legs for anybody. I don't. I've been faithful to this man for 3 years. I want my family to be whole. I don't want it to be broken up.
I understand.
I hope I'm wrong
Well,
with
you
all
are
this.
doubting him.
I have doubts in everything to do with it. I need to be sure so I know how to take care of this boy.
And these doubts started to occur during her pregnancy.
Yes.
Yes.
And so throughout the pregnancy, you had doubts.
Once I started having doubts, it came to a point to where a month or two later, I basically broke it off with her. I stepped away from the relationship. I sent her back to her mom and dad.
He told me we were
Yes,
split up.
I did.
He told me he loved me and we were still together. He couldn't wait to see me and everything else. So we weren't fully, he would come to see me.
I would, because you were pregnant.
But you told me you loved me. We still
And I do
we
love
still
you.
had
I did
sexual
love you then.
contact when you were with another female, though.
Just because I was
Still
staying there
sexual
don't mean I
contact.
was sleeping with her at the time. That was a
But
place
she
to
said
stay.
that you guys were, and you were still sleeping in the same bed with her.
And again, so
This
did
is during the marriage?
No, this was during whenever I was first pregnant.
So did the guy that these text messages and everything else were from. He said he was sleeping with you during the
I told you that millions of times. I've never once cheated. I've been faithful to you for 3 years.
Mr. Hatfill, you said there's also medical reasons why you believe you are not Jacob's biological father.
Jacob has one kidney. He's had to have surgery. He has to see a urologist every 6 months to once a year now. I've been there every step of the way from birth to now with the boy.
And I can see that makes you
for him.
emotional when you talk
And
about him.
I just want to be able to take care of him the best as possible and get everything between me and her better, because to take care of him and his brother the best that we cannot have this back and forth. It's bad for the kids. It teaches them bad habits. It gets them yelling and screaming at people, and then they feel the tension and they don't want to mind or listen. We got to get this under wraps now before it gets any further out of control, or we're going to have to step back from each other. I just want to know what we need to know for Jacob.
And I know it hurts you. I can see that. You bring this baby, you help bring this child into the world. You say you've been with them every step of the way.
Every step of the way. I missed one sonogram. During the time of all this, the doubt and everything taking place, I was getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd be at work by 6 after an hour drive. I'd work 10 to 15 hours a day and then come back home, and then this is what I get.
And you believe, Mr. Hatfill, that this is further proof that you are not Jacob's biological father. Explain to the court why you believe that.
I don't know anybody in my immediate family, let alone in my family tree, that has any of the same issues.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's hereditary. The doctor said it can't be hereditary. It could, but then it could not.
Doctor also said that it's more likely hereditary on one side or the other if it does not fall with the Down syndrome gene, and Jacob clearly does not.
We have an expert here because I am very interested in hearing more about birth defects or this particular issue of being born with one kidney and how that potentially relates to paternity. So the court would like to call Dr. Tasha Rogers to the courtroom. Jerome, will you please escort her in?
Sure. Have you go up to witness stand next to the judge.
Okay.
Watch your step going up.
Okay.
Hi, doctor.
How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here discussing paternity of a beautiful little 12-month-old boy, Jacob. He was born with a medical issue, having one kidney.
Okay.
And our potential dad, Mr. Hatfill, he's confused as to whether or not this is hereditary. First thing I want to ask you is what's the difference between birth defects and genetic defects?
Okay. A birth defect is a random error of conception that has no genetic basis at all. A genetic defect is when the chromosomes of mom and dad come together and something happens.
Understood. And so if a child is born with one kidney, could this defect be considered hereditary? And if yes, what's the likelihood that it's inherited?
Okay. When we talk about having one kidney or renal agenesis, it is what we call multifactorial, meaning it is multiple reasons, and we're not exactly sure why. It can be environmental. Is mom on a medication? Has she been exposed to some toxins? Lifestyle, obesity, drug use, alcohol use, or very rarely, is it genetic? And that's if there's a mutation. So even if it is genetic, dad could simply be, or mom could simply be a carrier, meaning they could have both kidneys, but just carry the gene.
And here, I believe Mr. Hatfill testified that Jacob does not have any such mutation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so given that fact, how does this relate to the possibility that this could affect his doubt concerning his paternity?
The genetics of it is minimal. We give minimal weight to genetics in it. So it's no way of saying that he's his or not based on that.
So the fact that he really has had these sleepless nights thinking, this child was born with one kidney, I wasn't born with one kidney, no one in my family, that really has no true basis.
None.
And yet if somehow they miss this mutation, then it could possibly be a genetic issue?
It could be, yes.
All right. So the question is, will this marriage survive
I hope.
if he is not your biological child?
There's going to be a serious step back in the marriage.
Because this foundation is feeling very faulty right now.
That's the way it's felt to me for a long time.
I mean, even the energy between the two of you standing before me, you would have to tell me you married. No, I would not know. The stakes are very high today.
Yes, they are.
But I'm very thankful that we have answers for you. Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
There you go.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Casey versus Hatfill, when it comes to 1-year-old Jacob Hatfill, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Hatfill, you are the father.
Sorry.
Actually, I'm relieved, to tell you the truth. You know, you all know I don't know these results, okay? I was like, Lord, come on. But really,
It's
I mean,
my birthday.
it is? Well, what a blessing. Really, truly. What a blessing. And I can see it meant something to you. I could almost feel your breath stop as I was reading the results. And then when I read it, I could hear that sigh of relief. And it's a beautiful thing to get the truth. And I'm happy for you both. Because at the end of the day, the genesis of this was something beautiful. And then we let trust issues affect the foundation of this family. And ultimately, it affected the way in which we view this beautiful, innocent child. And I can see that affects you because you knew it was affecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And just as you so eloquently stated, everything that goes on in that house, they understand, they can feel the intention behind the words. So I'm so happy we got this truth today, so you all know. Thank you, doctor, for giving us that insight. But more importantly, it's in time to focus on him. Mm-hmm. Because whatever that challenge may bring, he's going to need his parents to help navigate if there should be issues that arise.
Yeah.
So he's going to need both of you. We have counseling and resources for you. I want you to take advantage of it and figure out how to get this marriage and this family back on a healthy track. I wish you all the very best of luck. Court is adjourned.